Hey, I wanted to do a little video with you guys on to allow service dogs on your property or not to allow service dogs on your property. So if you're an equine assisted psychotherapy center or an equine assisted learning center, this will be really important for you to kind of understand. Now, keep in mind, I am based in Arizona, so I'm going by ADA regulations posted online, so Americans with Disability Acts regarding service dogs. And I'm also going by my Arizona attorney. So you want to seek legal advice if you're in another state or country. But here's kind of the basics. So this is Zale, one of my therapy minis, and I own Sky Therapy Solutions, and I teach the Icarus model of equine assisted therapy and learning virtually and in person here in Arizona. So this is what I teach when I teach my program. And I just launched a CE online, which is a pre-recorded training about this. So I wanted to share it with you guys for free just to help some more people. Now, having a service dog is such a wonderful benefit for people. So our policy has always been a hard no if people want to bring their service dogs here, because what can happen is service dogs aren't always trained to be around livestock. So horses, goats, sheep, and we had to be really careful. So a lot of service dog trainers that I have talked to in this area, they have mentioned they have a clause in their contract when somebody adopts a service dog from them or purchases a service dog from them. And it says that they will not bring the dog to concerts or livestock. So when they are not to bring the dog around livestock, it means that the service dog trainer wasn't able to acclimate the dogs to livestock. And it's because it takes a lot of work. It's not just one and done. You know, the dogs have to get used to the horses and also vice versa. So I've always said no for service dogs on my property because I can't, afford that risk. Sale, can I help you with? No, you don't get to push me. Excuse me. So what I do is I let people know it's just too risky for me to allow a service dog on the property because the dog could be injured by the horses or the dog could severely injure my therapy horses, which would not only cause physical harm, but it could also cause emotional harm. I mean, the clients love the horses, the client loves their service dog. So just so many things could happen if we allow a service dog on our property who's not trained. Big, small, there's just so many risks. And you really don't want to be liable for a $30,000 service dog. And that's how much some of them are in our agency, in our area, I mean. So I've been really lucky. When I first started out, I started out 15 years ago. So about 12 years ago, I think this happened. I allowed a couple service dogs to come onto our property. Super sweet ones, awesome. But one of them got loose and chased my horse, which was quite scary for me and the client. And then the other one was really barking and snarling at the horses. And one of our horses did try to paw at the dog. So it was a really scary situation. So I obtained consultation at that point and decided to have a no service dog policy at my facility. And I also have therapy dogs too. So it's not really fair for my therapy dogs to have to work when another dog is on property and maybe wants to play with them or they're not really used to. So it's really hard. And that policy has worked out really well the past, 10, 13 years that we've had the policy in place. Another thing to keep in mind is if a client's seeking equine assisted therapy and they're unable to leave their service dog at home, it's advised to share your service dog policy with them and be really respectful, explaining we are not able to allow service dogs on the property because therapy horses could be injured or could potentially injure or kill the service dog. So just be really sweet about it. Their dog could be amazingly trained. It could be used to horses. But there's some things I'll discuss later. Even when a dog comes here that's used to horses, it still negatively can affect the therapy session. So if you are a private facility that does not take Medicaid or Medicare, so this means you're a licensed clinician providing equine assisted therapy, that means according to Arizona attorneys, you do not have to make your facility ADA accessible for wheelchairs or service dogs. So this is the advice that I got when I started my facility and built the property. If you're accepting state funding or a licensed state facility, then you have to check with your local attorney to make sure you're able to put this rule in effect that does not allow the service dogs on your property because of the livestock clause. Now I'm going to give you some ways to kind of get around this. One of your arguments, according to the ADA website, is horses may not act normally if there's a predator that they're unfamiliar with, like a dog in the session, and that could hinder the therapeutic benefit. I've had friends take their well-trained dogs to my facility, and my horses would not interact with them at all until the dog had been there at least 4 to 5 sessions or 4 to 5 times. So I know personally my herd doesn't act the same around, strange predators on their property. Now, according to the ADA website, exclusionary criteria for service dogs states a service animal can be excluded if its presence would fundamentally alter the nature of the service program or activity provided. You can also quote the direct threat the dog may pose to the livestock. So that's straight from the ADA website. And guys, please keep in mind, I've done this for 15 years total. I've really had nobody offended that I couldn't allow their service dog on the property, because I just don't say no service dogs allowed. I explain to them. So as a trauma therapist, I really want to do things in a trauma informed way. And I also want to help with the attachment piece with my clients. So explaining them a little bit about how this protects them, but it also protects their dog, and it's everybody's well-being too. Equine assisted therapy is very expensive. Do you really want to ruin the sessions acclimating your dog? And do we really want to put maybe some uncomfortable situation between the therapeutic relationship? Now, for equine assisted learning, you're not taking state funding or anything. You're at a private facility, so you have a lot more freedom than people who are kind of licensed in the field. But it doesn't mean that somebody can't, try to request money if they bring their service dog on the property and it is damaged or hurt in some way. So, and I hope this helped you guys. So here is the rest of my herd. I have Fiji, I have Coral. Fiji is my Andalusian, Coral is my quarter horse, and my little mini. So I appreciate you guys listening. And if you're interested in the best practices in equine assisted therapy and learning training with a bunch of references, resources, free mock sessions, everything, you can go on our website, skyetherapy.com/training. And you can sign up for any of the on-demand trainings. And sometimes we run specials. So email us to see if we have 10% off or $20 off. We kind of run promotions from here and there. We also have a book called the Icarus Model Manual with 32 on-the-ground interventions to do that put the horses equal to the clients. And we have so many fun ways to work with first responders, kids. We specialize in autism and anxiety. So those are kind of our biggest specialty areas and have been. And I appreciate you guys coming.